What's up, guys? Justin Morgan here, Carved Up Vegan Muscle, and today's video might be a tad bit on the controversial side, but I don't think it's such a bad thing to kind of cover, and that is why I think that a lot of fruitarians or a lot of raw vegans kind of suck. And it's not that I think that, sorry, cat here, individual people really suck. It's more that there's a lot of aspects about the community that kind of sucks. And when you kind of think of it, I kind of want to go back and take a look at how it's changed since I first got involved with it, and at some point I kind of just ostracized myself from it and decided I didn't really want to associate myself with people that were specifically raw vegans. There was a lot of, my initial thing into becoming a vegan was pretty much just based around ethical reasons. But, obviously I wanted to be really healthy. I wanted to, it kind of did launch me on this path of, finding, what's a healthy diet to choose? How should I eat? What should I be eating? And, so, that's obviously had some influence in how I chose to implement a vegan diet, because there's many ways that you can choose to be a vegan or eat a vegan diet. It's not like, I love when I hear people say, oh, I'm following the vegan diet. It's like, the vegan diet, is that like a book or something? Did you read that? Is there, can I go buy it? Where can I check this out at? But, there's not, you can follow many diets that would be vegan or that would not contain animal products. And so when you look at the raw vegan community around 2011 or so, not too long ago, it was quite a bit different than what it is when you see it today. At that time, Freely and Durian Rider were very dogmatic about, it had to be raw, like you shouldn't be eating cooked foods. And I think they always kind of said that if it's okay if you choose to do that, but on their website, the 30 bananas a day, at that time I think if you discussed any type of if you were eating any kind of cooked food, you would be banned from the web. You'd be banned from the page. That was a big no-no. You couldn't do that. And I remember talking to people who would say things like, well, if you go out and eat some rice, that's the first step to eating hamburgers, and they'll say oh, I never let myself eat any kind of cooked food because I know the next step will be I'll be having hot dogs and all this stuff, eating it, and it's kind of what are you talking about? Have you lost your mind? And I mean, I guess I kind of see, there are people that, get into, extreme diets like that, and that have, psychological, they come from, a lot of psychological traumatic backgrounds. They, this is not the first time that they've gotten involved with something where they were a little out there. They might do something that's extreme. And there's nothing wrong with being extreme. There's a lot of aspects of my life. I am a very extreme person, and, but I guess, when I'm thinking about, my diet, I'm just not that extreme. You could say it's extreme to give up all animal products, but in 2015 now, it's really not that extreme, because if you like eating hamburgers, you can pretty much find some replacement at the grocery store that's almost identical to the hamburger that you used to have. You can find some kind of hot dog that's almost exactly identical to the one that you used to have. If you liked having ground beef in your spaghetti, you could pretty much find some kind of beef crumble or something that's vaguely similar to what they used to have. So it's really not that extreme to do that anymore. But to go to a fruitarian type diet, that's an extreme change, and it's different. So money becomes a big thing, because you're going to be spending maybe at least 1.5 to 2 times more on your food being a fruitarian than you would if you were just, eating primarily beans, just the 5 food groups that, vegans would look at. So whole grains, legumes, legumes, nuts and seeds, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. So, if you're specifically only eating raw foods, your grocery bill is going to be much higher. So I know people at that time would make videos on YouTube even. They're probably still out there if you dig back through the archives, and they would say things like, well, you know, eating a raw vegan diet is cheaper than being in the hospital, or, you know, paying for all this stuff. And it's like, well, what if it were possible to actually just eat a raw vegan, or eat a regular vegan diet, or, you know, of those 5 food groups that I mentioned, and not spend your life in the hospital? Is that also a possibility? And the answer is, of course, yes, it is. There is no research, no current research that indicates that following a specifically raw vegan diet is better than eating a regular whole foods plant-based diet. And I know that there are specific people out there who like blow their mind or blow their gasket and will say like, no, it has to be raw. Like, I've tried that raw food, or I'll go like eat cooked foods and I immediately blimp up and turn into like this obese person. And you know, that's great. Maybe that is the case for you. I don't know. But when we look at the overwhelming majority of the 99% of all people, that does not seem to be the case. That is, you know, you might, by increasing your sodium levels and some things like that, you might, of course, put on some weight initially. But obviously that's not fat weight. And then just likewise, like people will say, I've ate nothing but fruit or nothing but bananas or something, and I lost, you know, like 10, 15 pounds in a week. You know, unfortunately, there is pretty much no physiological way that you lost 10 to 15 pounds of fat in 1 week. You might have lost 1 pound, and then because of the high turnaround of fiber intake and you know, the decreased sodium intake, that you probably dropped a lot of water and other things, and you know, that's great. That might be something to consider. Probably not for a regular person, but you know, if you're like a power lifter or something and you need to drop weight, or you compete in something where you need to make weight classes, there definitely can be some benefits to, you know, some of those aspect or ways of thinking. They've pretty much been explored. We kind of like know what they are. I know that if I drink like 3 gallons of water a day for, you know, several days, that I will drop my sodium levels really low, and I will lose, you know, maybe up to 10 pounds or so, and I will be able to walk in and do a weigh-in. Now, I would not want to do that and then try to compete that same day. That would suck. You know, I would not perform well. I would not do well. But, you know, there's just some things to consider there with that. I'm trying to think of some other things that I had to talk about. There's definitely many areas that I would criticize them for. I guess the one, you know, looking at the last thing that I consider is, if you're looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a lot of the fruitarian or raw vegan communities, or really it goes for any kind of people that are kind of united around a specific type of, you could say, fad diet, is that they kind of like base a lot of it off only very physiological needs, the lowest kind of denominator when looking at a person's needs. But a lot of the higher things is that you would consider is like the person has like relational needs or intimate needs for people around them, things like that, that, you know, they kind of, a lot of the community will neglect in order to really promote and hop on the bandwagon for this raw vegan thing. In fact, I've seen in worst case scenarios people like kind of ostracize family members, or they don't want to be around people who don't follow a specifically raw vegan diet. Even if you have like vegan friends, like you end up ostracizing and not wanting to be around them because they don't follow their specific kind of diet. And that is a huge problem within that community. If you are doing anything where like you are hiding if you have a cold, which I saw that a lot when I was like seeing people, like if they got like a cold or they got sick or something, they would try to hide it because they're following this perfect diet, so like you shouldn't be getting colds. And if you, well, just any kind of thing like that, any kind of problem that they had, like they would hide it, and like they didn't want anybody to know. They were like seemed secret about it. And you know, I mean, anytime like I had anything come up, I would always go ask, or you know, do things that, you know, interact with other people and try to find out what was going on with that. And it was almost like I felt like a hush hush kind of thing, like you shouldn't be talking about that in front of people. And there's just a lot of things that I really dislike about that entire community and the way that it goes. So like I specifically at one point decided I do not want to have any interaction or involvement. One, I shouldn't say interaction, but I don't want to like promote myself as being a raw vegan, even if I was following that kind of diet, which I haven't for some time now. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the video off there. It's at 10 minutes, and that's getting kind of long, so hope you guys enjoyed it. This will be my last video for the next week or so until I get back from vacation, so you guys take it easy, and I'll talk to you next time.